Welcome back. We got enough parts in to do something that I need to do. So the bottom end on the engine is good to go. I got the crank pulley on, the harmonic balancer on. I'm happy with that. But the next step here is to get these cylinder heads that I got ready to go. So here's what I got. These are the Dart Pro 1 copies. You can see they got the China markings on them. These were made 3/14 of 2011. The castings, these have never been run. Theoretically, they have Edelbrock valve springs and Edelbrock valves. The catch is that I'm not 100% sure if they are for hydraulic roller. I think they might be hydraulic flat tappet springs. Not sure. So rather than guessing and running and finding out the wrong way, you can see I got angled plug holes. That's square up and that one's going that way, and then so on and so forth. There's another marking here if you cared, but I'm reasonably sure that that's exactly what these guys are. Let's look at the intake ports. Yep. So these are just as cast, nothing fancy. I could get in here if I wanted to and clean this up, but to be honest, this is not a high performer at all, so I'm not worried about it. It's got dual mounting patterns for the Vortec heads. That's what these guys are, or Vortec intake, excuse me. Or it's got these the regular standard small block, which is what I've got. So I've got to get these LS6 or LS3 valve springs installed. I'm going to use blue on the intake and the chrome or the brass color on the exhaust. They are all the same height and everything. I've got Summit Racing valve spring retainers that fit the Beehive springs, but they're for the 11/32 push rod, which is what comes stock on a small block Chevy. And then I got these valve keepers. These are valve locks. These are from Elgin. But that's what I've been reliably told will ensure I get all out of the springs I possibly can. So anyway, I'm going to get you guys set up probably on the tripod here and just do a fast motion thing. So, or what, time lapse, that's what the word is. So that's what I'm going to do, is just get this set up, and I'll probably do just one head and then bring you back when both of them are done. Yeah, that's the plan. Alright, so I went ahead and took off one of the springs, just getting familiar with how the tool works. It's not that bad to work with. I just had to think about it for a minute. But anyway, I wanted just to check to see the condition of everything. I'm going to have to clean these. There's dog hair and stuff all over them. But here's the new valve spring. Here's the valve seat cup. It's honestly too big, but I'm not terribly concerned about that sliding around. I'll probably do some research later. But essentially, all this is going to do, and I should probably get some stuff out that I'm going to need. All the shiny new ones, I'll put the old ones in here. keepers or the retainers or whatever you call them. These guys will go right here, and that'll fit right over that valve, no problem. So you just grab this guy here, One thing on this tool is I feel like I may have to clearance a thing or two. There we go. So now the valve is not all the way up. Now it's going all the way up. Yeah, I have a feeling that I'm going to have to get the right cups on that. Boo. Well, let me do some research and I'll get back. The answer is yes. I need to get the correct valve seat retainer. Hi, Turbo. It's always here when I'm working. I have an extra set of heads, but they are set up for 8mm valves. I could try beating off the valves and see if I can get a retainer on this. See if I can get that one, which I may do. What I don't know is if the inner diameter of the valve seat retainer is the same diameter as the valve, or if it's larger to accept larger ones. I don't know. Yeah. Best laid plans of mice and men. Alright. So, yesterday, I faked myself out. The retainers on those cylinder heads will actually be just fine. I gotta find one. Again, I'm actually not going to film this. I'm not feeling very good. I've been dealing with a sinus infection type thingy for the past... Oh, it's on the cylinder head. It's already in there. Anywho, the cylinder head had, because it's an aluminum cylinder head, you need to have a hardened steel seat for the valve spring to sit against. The retainer up at the top of that, which I can show you since I don't have it pulled out, is this guy right here. We'll go over and use the Corvette as a workbench. So there's the cylinder, this is the spring, and there's the keeper or the retainer. The keepers are what actually wedge in to the valve. But this fits perfectly well in there. It's a nice tight fit. That thing does not move around hardly at all, that's perfect. I was concerned that the part down here would need to have the same thing. And it turns out that it's not entirely necessary. I'm not spinning this thing to 7,000 RPM all day, so I'm not terribly worried about it. So this should be enough to locate it in the spring seat down below. So I'm going to just march on as I was doing that yesterday. Like I said, I just kind of faked myself out. But while I was in there, I was thinking, I'm like, well, I know that I've got aluminum cylinder heads for the new motor. And so I was going to just open it up and take a look and see if I could take those out. But I don't think I can. I certainly don't have the tool for it, because that valve spring tool requires a stud, which if you'll notice on these cylinder heads, there are no studs. So I ordered the correct tool that I'll be able to get these off. And these are the actual old heads, but you can see the rust I think that this engine was actually sitting for quite a bit longer. Don't worry about that goo. That goo is from fluid film that I sprayed on it after I got the engine all washed up. But you can see that this is pretty crusty in here. This stuff just flakes off. So I have a feeling that this motor actually sat a little bit longer than what he had told me. And look at this cylinder head. There's lots of carbon buildup. Must have spent a lot of time idling. I do have, as you see back there, the other set of cylinder heads just on there. They're not mounted or anything. But I decided to break down the old cylinder heads on that engine. Just to kind of see what I was getting into. And I'm glad I did, because the cylinders themselves were a little gnar. So I'll show that at a later date. Because that's not a huge priority. But there was a little bit of scaling and a lot of that carbon buildup in there. So I'll be cleaning that up at some point. But for tonight, even though I'm not feeling very great, I'm still going to go ahead and get those cylinder heads, the small block Chevy cylinder heads, the aluminum ones that I have. I'm going to get those set up with the new valves so that I can put them on this guy. So that's the plan. I'm not going to film it. I'll just show you the final result. Yeah. Sometimes you just feel like crap, but you just got to keep going. Yeah, little by little. And there we have it. We've got those beehive valve springs installed. Looks like a giant optical illusion to me, but they are good. This one push rod guide, I kind of moved over that way a little bit. Let's see the best way to indicate that way. It just kind of needed it. The clearances were not fantastic. Worst case scenario, I can pop this off and just cut out a little bit more. But I'll find out later. I'll wing this thing over and just look and see what happens. But that's what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and do the other head, and that'll be the job for the evening. I'm sure you cannot see a thing because of the light. Is that better? I don't know. Well, here we are on another day. It's actually the next evening. I'm going to be doing a clutch job on my pastor's son's truck tomorrow. I'm not too worried about it. It should be good. But that means I got limited time tomorrow to do much. Plus the wife has a bunch of honeydews for me to do. So tonight I'm going to attempt to get the cylinder heads installed. I just got those cleaned up. If I can get those installed, including the rockers and push rods, then I can paint the valve covers and throw those suckers on at a later date. But I'm going to use a scraper to just clean up those surfaces, and then come through here with a shop vac, and then after the shop vac I'm going to hose it down with carburetor cleaner just to get the surfaces clean. Then I need to wire wheel the bolts, get my pipe dope, and at least get this installed. So that's the plan. Yeah, life's good. I can't complain, so I'm not going to. Still feeling under the weather, but that's okay. That'll be all right. So one thing I forgot I needed to do, besides clean up the gasket surfaces, which those are good enough for me, I took all the coolant stuff that was around the edges here and here and here. There's always buildup. I just knocked that down. I may go over it one more time with my little carbide cleaner, but you always got to chase these threads. These small block Chevys apparently use pipe doping because it's hard to tell, but these guys, particularly these, go straight into the coolant jacket, and if you don't, you'll get coolant leaking straight up your the bolts, and then you'll just have leaking all the time, and that's not a good thing. I could use a standard tapping tool attachment, but this does two things in my mind. I gotta back it out. It means that I can't get on it too hard, which means I'm going easy. You're supposed to use a what's it called? A thread chaser. I'm just using a well-worn but still semi-functional tap. So while these could cut new threads, I'm not really trying to cut good new threads. I'm just trying to get the threads that are already there cleaned up. And so I'm not terribly concerned about doing it this way. There we go, that's good. So this should back out relatively easily. And it does. So yeah, I did most of these with a drill on the end. And I set the clutch on the drill to go easy on it. So that as soon as it hit some resistance, it would just stop and I could reapproach. But I got that one, and that one left on this side, and then I got more on that side because I couldn't get the drill in, but that's no big deal. So just go slow, and then I'll clean again, try to get all this junk out of here with a pick and a rag. Same with that one, and then I want to get the engine back to top dead center on number 1 before I put the heads on, although it doesn't matter too much because I should be able to find it. Anywho, that's the plan, so that's what I'm doing. All right, got these all the threads chased. I still need to clean up the ring areas a little bit. I'm going to do that. Believe it or not, these are all the bolts required for just one cylinder head. Holy crap, it's a lot. So, that being said, I'm only going to get the passenger side done today. It's just kind of the way it's going to go. It's about the best I can do for tonight, because I got the other ones. I quickly sat them down. Carb cleaner won't touch that pipe dope stuff, which is similar to this. This is what I've used very, very, very with lots of luck. All metals. Do not use on oxygen systems. Yeah, basically it works for all that stuff. Stuff does work good. I've used it in the past. So, anywho, and then I got this dumb thing on. Yep, I'm just going to keep at it. I'm going to grab my factory service manual and grab the torque specs. Hey, Turbo. What's up, buddy? Hey. I'm actually going to let him in and let him eat a little bit, because we kind of got in a fight with him last night. Not a fight, he just in and out, in and out, in and out, and it was just irritating the crap out of us. So anywho, I'll be back. Okay, I lied. I did a little more scraping and cleaning here. I'm pretty happy with it. I brake cleaned it, and then I lubed the cylinders with a little bit of WD-40. I probably have a little too much in there, but I got all the trash out of there, and now it's ready for the head gasket. Yeah, okay. Alright, let's see if I can get this video in real quick. Passenger side head is torqued down. It was a fight. Setting the head in was not a problem. The fight was this particular bolt. You can see I tried clearancing it. This spring cup was not machined very well. It probably should have gone to that way just a little bit, but it didn't. But I did this in 2 passes. Actually, that first socket I went straight to 60, and then the rest of them I went to 40, as indicated on here. And then I went to 65 all the way around, and I went over it a bunch, and that is good and on there, and it's tight. Push rods fit, no clearance issues that I can tell. I think it's going to work just fine. So, Yeah. Whew. So I've got the other bolts for the other side in that can of Berryman Chem Tool there. I'm hoping that'll loose up the old adhesive, or the old, what's it called? Pipe dope. That's what I'm hoping it'll do. We'll see what happens. But anywho, thanks for joining. And I'm going to just keep working on this thing. I probably won't get to it until Monday, maybe Sunday if I have the time. But yeah, so there you go. It's not bad, not difficult, just doing the logistics. The way I got that one bolt to seal, or to start, with the clearance issues, the socket wouldn't fit. What I did was I took another 5/8 socket and just ground the outside of it down so that I could barely get it on there. And that worked. So, you know, it's pretty cool having a cat that just shows up whenever he knows you're going to be outside working on cars. I swear he's got a calendar or something. Look at this guy. What do you say? Well. Oh, you're funny. Oh, you're a funny kid. You're just going to hang out with me while I'm out here? I appreciate you doing it. He's like, well, you gave me treats a few minutes ago. I'm like, yeah, I did. So, anyway, so today, I want to get that other cylinder head on. I hope my bolts haven't been eaten away. But I want to get the other cylinder head bolted on. This is a better view of it after I got it on. There we go. So that guy is torqued up and good to go. Just need to do the same thing with the other head. That's the other L98 head that I guess someone might want. These are some 317 heads. Later, I'm just going to yank the valves out of them, see if I can clean them up and just keep them as spares. I'm pretty much sure they're the same as the 5.3. They may not be, but just break these down and then chuck them into the recycling, get rid of them. But yeah, so the goal is, I've got a wicked ear infection going on, so I'm going to the ear, nose, and throat guy tomorrow. Hopefully he can figure out what the hell's in my ear. I have this eerie feeling that it's grease. And I was just talking to my buddy Sparky, and he's like, man, we should invent something that mechanics can wear. I'm like, bro, they do. They're called 99-cent earplugs. Yeah. He's like, yeah, but we're too dumb. We probably won't actually ever use them. I'm like, yeah, that's right. So, anywho, I'm going to get going. Since I've got light, I will do a little bit better filming, I think, and we'll just go from there. All right. So you saw I got that cylinder head torqued up. That went really well, not complaining at all. Much easier to do the second time around when you kind of got an idea of what's going on. So now I'm going to put the water pump on. And I just finished chasing that thread hole. Now I'm just doing this one, and it's worth doing this. I was just talking with my neighbor. Yeah, these things always take time, but it's absolutely critical. Otherwise you'll never get a good seal, and crap's leaking all the time, and it's a good time. It's a good time. But I'm probably going to stop tonight after getting this water pump on. I'll probably set the intake on here just to keep trash out of it. Make me feel a little bit better. I'm not going to install it until later. One thing I wanted to check to see, did it have both of these water jackets? And it did, so that's good to know. Because I guess some cylinder heads that you can buy have front ones blocked off and they're not ambidextrous, but these do have different drillings on either side, which I thought was interesting. So I got them matched up the best I can, so I'm seriously hoping that that's not going to be an issue for me. I don't think it will. This is small block Chevy stuff. I'm on the Corvette forum, just there to gather knowledge and research and do stuff, and I do participate, and I got general car knowledge, so a lot of things that happen to Corvettes happen to all sorts of vehicles, so there's no mystery. You can still help people out if they talk about a coolant flush and all that stuff. You know, is it going to screw things up? Well, maybe. But in all likelihood, it won't. You know, go get you a pressure tester. If you got a problem when you put pressure on the radiator and it won't hold more than 15 pounds of PSI of air pressure behind the fluid, then you know you got another problem somewhere. And you need to address that before you even think about doing the coolant flush. But yeah, so, and one of them, because I told them my long-term plans for this car is to basically just turn it into a little bit of a hot rod, and it's kind of a test bed for me. I just want experience working on GM stuff, because I've only really worked on Ford, a bunch of German stuff, Japanese cars, you name it. I've worked on all that, but I've never worked on a GM product before. There we go, that's good. I'll pull this off and you'll see how much trash gets built up on this. You might even be able to see some of it falling off, but probably not focusing worth a darn, but there's just a bunch of trash in there. And that's why you do it. You just clean it out. I'm gonna scrape those surfaces. I'll be right back. 3/8, by the way. Terrible about putting in the same spot. Screw it. I'm using a razor blade. It's cast iron, should be strong. I don't know what I did with my fancy Mortsky style carbide thingy bob. I'd go look for it, but got the tape rolling, so there's no reason to. And I will be flushing this guy at some point. Go. Just cut that excess off. I'm going to go straight into a coolant port. Of course it does, Paul. It's called the water pump housing for a reason. So I'm going to tack up one side. Actually, let me just bring you over here. We'll put you on top of this. I've absolutely destroyed my Berryman can. Completely botched that up. Let's see here. Paul doing Paul things, putting stuff away. Wrong drawer. Right drawer. Hey, guess what? I found my carbide scraper. Probably listening to me just mumble. What's going on over there? Here, stare at the fancy water pump. Actually, I'll grab a carbide scraper and get this paint off of it, off of the mounting flanges here. Although actually, this works just as well. Just get a little carburetor cleaner. It's not the highest quality paint job. I guess it's supposed to cure. You're supposed to let it eat with, maybe bake it or something. I don't know. I don't really care. That's nice and clean. That's ready to go. And I don't know what this hole does. Oh, that's just a coolant bypass. That's all that is. That's neat. I'm going to spray a hole in those holes real quick. Absolutely ruined my fancy paint job on the timing cover. I'll go back and fog that as well. So let's see, my gaskets. I'll use whatever's in my kit here. Yeah, I got these. I always hang on to these gasket kits if I don't use all of it. So that one, that makes no sense. And I did order one that's for the exact car. I don't know how helpful that is. Oh, it doesn't even have water pump gaskets. Well, that makes sense. Oh, I think this is EGR or something. So I gotta look around for that. Where did I put it in here? Got good intake manifold gaskets. That's nice. Where are they? There they are. Found them. Huh. So they give you two of the exact same one, even though only one uses that, and then this one uses that. Very interesting. So my MO on this, Latin for modus operandi, is I'm going to put some of this right stuff on here on this side, tack it up. Someone is blowing my phone up. That's nice and clean. And then this stuff always dries in the thing, so you got to pry it out, which I will do. If I was smart, I'd let that be a little proud. Oh, there we go. And then I broke the plastic, of course. See, that's nice and fresh. So we'll just put some of that there. I'd rather the water pump, there we go, get the the sealant on it. I won't seal the other side. I just don't think it's necessary. I need to go get some gloves. That's some of the errands I need to run. I'm usually pretty good about buying them online in advance, but clearly slacked off in that arena. So you can see these were pushed out from the making. I'm going to leave kind of the poofier side up here. That one. Fancy. I've started watching a lot of Puddin's Fab Shop. The guy just cracks me up. Fancy. Now someone's calling me. Hello, Ricardo. We'll be back. And with that, water pump is on. Belt alignment looks great. There we go. It's a pretty good angle. It's all lined up good. Water pump's on. Torque 35 pounds except for this because no one's got a deep well socket large enough to do that. Thanks, Chevy. I need to put the push rods in yet, but that's good at least. And I can set this fella up here. Boy, oh, that does line up. Thank goodness. I was about to have a shit fit. Yep, that'll fit just fine. Oh, she's starting to look like a motor finally. Finally. Yeah. So, anyway, I think that's what I'm going to call it for the night. Put the push rods in, put the blanket back over it, set that on top. And getting a little closer. Pretty soon I'm going to work on welding up those exhaust manifolds, which I probably won't film because in all likelihood I'm going to blow like a million little holes in these guys. I'm going to have to get them cleaned up, flushed up, and then just do a bunch of little tacks. So yeah, that'll do it for the evening. As Puddin says, yeah, I'm referencing him again. Sitting on your behind won't get your project finished. Well, death by 1,000 cuts, right? That's what I do. Same thing. Remind me to get a new can. Kind of got whammoed, and I don't like that crease.